Ben 10 mom say this. Thank you, my God, for not leaving my son. You cover him. Red heart emoji. Well, good for her, because he ain't gonna be able to walk no more, according to rumors. Ben 10 paralyzed. They didn't make it public yet. I'm gonna catch your name and pick out when I post this. Okay, bro, please. So, LOL. I don't want to be in none of that BR mess.
Ben 10 is now dealing with life-changing injuries, and Jay Prince Jr. could be facing serious legal trouble because of it. One moment turned everything upside down. A man who showed up out of loyalty is now stuck in a hospital bed, unable to move his legs, and the situation is getting heavier by the day. April 8th, Houston, Texas. A spot called Confessions. Late-night energy. People moving around, and then everything shifts fast. Reports say All-Star Jr. was trying to leave the building when things started to unfold. Jay Prince Jr. allegedly got word he was there, made a call, and had people head toward the elevator area. What happened next changed everything. Ben 10 pulled up, standing on loyalty, and ended up caught in the middle of a violent situation. Multiple shots rang out, and now he's facing the kind of outcome nobody expects walking into a night like that. And even though Jay Prince Jr. didn't personally pull a trigger, his name is now right in the center of the situation, with serious questions being raised. Now let's slow it down and really break this whole thing apart, because a lot of people hear these names but don't fully understand the weight behind them. First up, Jay Prince Jr. If you know anything about Houston's music and street culture, you already know the Prince family carries major influence. His father, James Prince Sr., built Rap-A-Lot Records from the ground up, shaping Southern hip-hop history with legendary artists like the Ghetto Boys and Scarface. That name holds real respect, not just in music, but far beyond it. We're talking about deep connections, long-standing influence, and a reputation that's been solid for decades. Jay Prince Jr. has been trying to step out and build his own identity, but here's the reality. His name keeps popping up in situations that go way beyond music. From past incidents in different cities to tensions involving other artists, the pattern has people paying closer attention than ever. And now, this situation in 2026 is easily one of the most serious moments tied to his name so far. This isn't just online chatter anymore. There are reports, witnesses, and real consequences playing out in real time. Now let's talk about NBA Ben 10, real name Ben Anthony Fields. He's closely connected to NBA Young Boys Circle, part of a group known for loyalty and staying solid no matter what.
3200 Kirby Drive at the Confessions nightclub, just behind me upstairs. It's a bar slash restaurant type location. Tonight there was probably, I don't know, 20, 30 people in there and several servers and everything. Got some pretty good video. We got 2 victims on the scene right now. This is a shooting. We got 2 victims. Let's see, one's been shot multiple times in the torso, probably in his late 20s. Another one's been shot in the extremities, in the lower extremities, and also all throughout his arms and everything several times. And he's probably in his mid-20s. They're both transported to local hospitals right now, and they're both in very critical condition. So my name is Lieutenant R. Wilkins, Willkens.
If you follow that scene, you know it runs deep. Ben 10 isn't just some background figure. He's respected, known, and has been standing with that camp for years, which makes this situation hit even harder. This wasn't some random person caught in the wrong place. This was someone who showed up for his people and ended up facing serious, life-altering consequences. And then there's All-Star Jr., real name Jeremy Ford, born February 6, 1994, out of Detroit, Michigan. Coming from Joy Road on the west side before moving east, he built his name in a city known for being tough and unforgiving. Part of the All-Stars Ball Hard movement alongside names like T. Grizzly, All-Star Lee, and All-Star Poe, he's not new to pressure or street credibility. This is someone who's been in that environment and built a name through it. And on April 8th, 2026, he found himself right in the middle of a situation that escalated fast. So now you've got all the pieces on the table, 3 major figures, each with their own background, their own connections, and their own reputations. And the setting? A restaurant on the 3200 block of Kirby Drive in Houston, late night around 11:30 p.m. Everything seemed normal on the surface, but underneath, tension was already building. And what happened next is what turned this into one of the most talked about situations right now. Now that you know who was involved, let's really break down what led to that moment. Because this situation didn't just start inside Confessions. It had been building long before that night. And the reason behind it has people shaking their heads. According to what's been circulating and what multiple sources are pointing toward, The tension may have started over a personal situation involving a woman. Reports suggest the situation traces back to All-Star Jr.'s child's mother. Allegedly, J. Prince Jr. became involved with her, and from there, things got complicated fast. There are also claims being discussed that an incident may have happened involving All-Star Jr.'s child, but to be clear, that detail remains unconfirmed and is still being talked about as speculation. Still, even the possibility of something like that is enough to spark serious tension, especially when personal lines feel crossed. And you already know how quickly things can escalate when personal issues mix with pride and reputation. Situations like that don't stay online or behind closed doors for long. Once emotions get involved, things can move fast and spiral into something much bigger than expected. So now picture this setup. All-Star Jr. ends up in Houston. Whether it was for business, music, or just being in the city, he was now in a place closely tied to J. Prince Jr. And once word got out that he was inside Confessions that night, everything started shifting behind the scenes. Reports say a call was made and people began gathering quickly. Energy changed, and the situation started building toward a confrontation. And who shows up in the middle of all this? Ben 10, along with others connected to that circle. Now think about how serious that looks. You've got people with strong reputations, different cities, different affiliations, all converging in one place at the same time. That's not a random moment anymore. That's a situation waiting to explode. According to reports, All-Star Jr. was heading out, trying to leave without making a scene. But before he could fully exit, things caught up with him near the elevator area. Multiple individuals reportedly approached him at once, and the situation turned physical very quickly. There was pushing, grabbing, chaos breaking out in seconds. Witnesses say objects were being thrown, people rushing in, and everything turning into a full-on confrontation right there in the building. But here's the part that really stands out. Even in the middle of all that pressure, All-Star Jr. reportedly held his ground. One person surrounded by multiple individuals, trying to navigate a situation that was getting more intense by the second. It looked like it was about to go completely one-sided, like it might end right there in that moment. And then everything shifted in a split second. During the chaos, a weapon reportedly fell to the ground. In the middle of the struggle, with people moving fast and things out of control, that one moment changed the entire direction of what was happening. All-Star Jr., who reportedly wasn't carrying anything that night, ended up grabbing it. And just like that, the situation went from a physical confrontation to something far more serious. One unexpected moment turned everything upside down. And from there, nothing about that night would ever be the same. Everything flipped in seconds. One moment, it looked like a one-sided situation, and the next, everything changed fast. Around 11:30 p.m. on Wednesday, April 8th, 2026, Houston police responded to reports of gunfire at Confessions on Kirby Drive. When officers arrived, the scene was pure chaos. 2 individuals had been hit, and the situation was already out of control. Officials later described what they found. One person had multiple injuries to the torso area, while another had been hit in different parts of the body, including the legs and arms. It was serious, no question about it, and almost immediately, word started spreading about who was involved. Names began circulating, and within hours, people were saying one of the victims was NBA Ben 10. And the condition updates? They weren't light. Reports coming out described a critical situation with Ben 10 receiving intensive medical care. There's also been heavy talk online suggesting long-term effects from the injuries he sustained. Now, to be clear, nothing official has confirmed those specific details, but the conversations around it have been intense. And what's adding even more attention is the silence. No public updates directly from him, no posts, nothing from his immediate circle that gives a clear picture of his recovery. There was one important update though. OG Monique, connected to that circle, spoke out to clarify that Ben 10 is alive and alert and pushed back against false claims spreading online. And that matters. But at the same time, being alert doesn't mean everything is back to normal. It just means he made it through the initial situation, and there's still a long road ahead. Meanwhile, All-Star Jr. managed to leave that building after everything went down. And here's where things get even more complicated. Based on early reports, investigators quickly started looking at the possibility that he was defending himself in that moment. He was reportedly outnumbered, dealing with multiple people at once, and reacted in the middle of chaos. As of now, there haven't been any charges announced against him. And that detail alone has people talking non-stop. But here's the bigger picture that's got everyone locked in. A lot of people aren't buying the idea that this was just some random situation over jewelry or a quick altercation. When you look at everything leading up to that night, the personal tensions, the reported history between the individuals involved, and the way people were allegedly called to that location. It starts to feel like something more serious was building behind the scenes. Some believe this wasn't just about what happened in that moment, but about everything that led up to it. The timing, the coordination, the fact that multiple people showed up at the same place at the same time, it all raises bigger questions. And one of the biggest questions being asked right now is about who set things in motion that night. Because here's the reality people are focused on. If someone organizes a group, calls people to a location, and a situation escalates into something serious, that alone can bring major legal attention. Even if that person wasn't physically involved in the moment itself, their role before everything happened can still be examined closely. And that's exactly why this situation isn't slowing down anytime soon. It's not just about what happened inside that restaurant anymore. It's about how it all started, who was connected to what, and what the next move from authorities might be. Now, this is where things turn serious on a legal level, because the law has concepts like conspiracy and felony-level responsibility. And if investigators can show that J. Prince Jr. helped organize or direct what happened that night, the consequences could be major. Think about it like this. If someone brings a group together and a situation escalates into something life-threatening, their role before the incident even started can come under heavy scrutiny. At the time of this situation, Ben 10 was still reported to be in critical condition, receiving intensive care. That alone raises the stakes, because when injuries reach that level, every detail of how the situation started becomes extremely important, and that's why people are paying close attention to what led up to that moment inside confessions. The internet reacted instantly when footage surfaced showing J. Prince Jr. at the scene. That visual alone confirmed he was present that night. And when you combine that with reports of a phone call being made, along with the earlier personal tensions tied to this situation, it starts forming a timeline that investigators are likely reviewing closely. Nothing is confirmed yet, but the sequence of events is what matters most in cases like this. Houston police have already confirmed that the investigation is active and ongoing. No official arrests tied directly to this part of the situation have been announced yet, but there's one thing everyone is watching closely, and that's the surveillance footage. That footage is expected to provide a clearer picture of exactly how everything unfolded, second by second. Now online, people have been debating heavily about what happened and who was responsible for what. Some are pointing out that tensions were already high inside that building and that multiple sides were involved in the confrontation. This wasn't a simple, one-sided situation. There were strong personalities, strong reactions, and things escalated quickly. But here's the key detail that keeps coming up. Reports suggest All-Star Jr. reacted while being surrounded and physically confronted. That distinction matters a lot when situations like this are reviewed. Whether something is seen as self-defense or something else depends heavily on how those first moments are understood. What happened that night sent shockwaves across the hip-hop world almost immediately. Conversations started everywhere, and one of the biggest focuses right now is the mob ties circle that J. Prince Jr. has been building over the years. A lot of artists and individuals have aligned themselves with that name, but now people are starting to ask tougher questions about the situations connected to it. Online discussions have been pointing out that this isn't the first time J. Prince Jr.'s name has come up around serious incidents. For example, people are bringing up the 2022 situation involving Takeoff in Houston, where his name was also mentioned in proximity, although he was not charged in that case. And because of that history, it's adding even more attention to what's happening right now. All of this combined is why the spotlight on this situation isn't fading anytime soon. It's not just about one night anymore. It's about patterns, timing, and what investigators may uncover as they continue looking deeper into everything that led up to that moment. The real conversation now is about patterns, because when the same name keeps showing up around serious situations, people start asking bigger questions. At some point, it stops feeling like coincidence and starts looking like something that needs deeper attention. That's exactly where this situation is heading right now, and people are watching closely. Then you've got NBA Youngboys Circle, and this is where things get complicated. There's already been known tension between that camp and J. Prince Jr., so when news spread that Ben 10, someone connected to that circle, was allegedly present because of a call tied to J. Prince Jr., it raised a lot of eyebrows. People are asking how those worlds even crossed like that. Why was someone from that side involved in a situation connected to him? That question is still floating with no clear answer. And then there's All-Star Jr. The Detroit artist walked into Houston and made it out of that situation, while others didn't. In street conversations, that alone builds a narrative fast. But legally, things are far from over for him. Even when self-defense is part of the discussion, it doesn't automatically end everything. There can still be questioning, legal reviews, and possible civil issues that come afterward. His legal team is likely preparing for a long process ahead. But beyond all the headlines and online debates, there's a reality that can't be ignored. Ben Anthony Fields is a real person with family, people who care about him, and a life that may be permanently affected by what happened that night. Reports suggest serious long-term impact, and while not everything is officially confirmed, the situation is clearly severe. And that part hits different, because it's no longer just about names or reputations. It's about someone's future being changed. What makes this even heavier is how it all came together. Ben 10 didn't reportedly start this situation. He showed up, possibly out of loyalty, and ended up facing the most serious consequences. That's the part that makes people stop and think, because sometimes being in the wrong place at the wrong time can change everything in an instant. Now take a step back and look at the bigger picture. This isn't just about one night or one incident. It's about power, loyalty, and how quickly things can spiral when those two mix in high-pressure environments. The hip-hop world has always balanced between entertainment and real-life situations, and most of the time, people manage to keep those lines from crossing too far. But when influence and connections are used in ways that bring real-world consequences, that's when everything shifts. That's when the music takes a back seat and the reality of the situation becomes impossible to ignore. Situations like this remind everyone how serious things can get when emotions, reputation, and power all collide at once. J. Prince Jr. comes from a name that carries major respect in Houston and beyond, but with that level of recognition also comes responsibility. And right now, based on everything being discussed, people are questioning whether that responsibility was handled the right way on April 8th. And that leads to the biggest question people keep asking. At what point do people stop giving passes when situations like this keep happening around the same circles? When does accountability step in, especially when others end up facing life-changing consequences connected to those moments? That's the question that's still hanging in the air, and it's not going away anytime soon. Ben 10 showed up out of loyalty, and now he's in a hospital fighting through a situation that could change his life forever. Reports say he's alert, but the road ahead still looks serious, and people close to this are watching every update closely. That's the reality of how fast things can turn when a moment goes left. One decision, one call, and everything shifts in seconds. And then there's J. Prince Jr. He was in that building, he appears in the footage, and now all eyes are on what investigators are going to uncover next. Because at the end of the day, this isn't about opinions anymore. It's about evidence. Surveillance cameras don't pick sides, they don't follow loyalty, and they don't care about reputations. They just capture what happened, exactly how it happened. And whatever those cameras recorded inside Confessions on Kirby Drive is going to play a major role in how this story unfolds. If Ben 10 continues to recover, and hopefully he does, that could impact how things move forward legally. But even then, this situation doesn't just disappear. There could still be civil cases, ongoing investigations, and deeper questions about how everything started. The legal side of this is far from over, and it looks like it's only just beginning. And if things take a more serious turn, then the pressure rises even more. Because once situations reach that level, every detail gets examined closely, from the first call to the final moment inside that building. No name, no history, no reputation can override what the evidence shows when it's all laid out. This is one of those situations where real life is moving fast, and the full picture is still coming together. Investigations are active, footage exists, and people are waiting to see how everything connects. It's no longer just talk. It's about what can actually be proven as this continues to unfold. So now it comes down to time. What gets confirmed, what comes out next, and how everything is handled from here. That's what everyone is watching right now. If you've been following this situation, make sure you stay tapped in. Hit that like button, subscribe, share this video, and drop your thoughts in the comments. And I'll catch you on the next one.